Hey everybody, Joe Mangum here with the Strategic Agent, and you are in for a huge treat with my interview featuring Leonna Weiss. Hey everybody, and welcome to another interview, which I'm very excited about. You know, we've been having a series going on here at the Strategic Agent. There's so many fabulous agents out there who are doing really interesting things. I want to give you just a little bit of background and introduce you to the person that I frequently butcher her name, Leonna.
No.
Leonna. It's Leonna, right? I do it all the time. And I think it's a little bit of my southern problem, but it's Leonna.
Yeah.
Weiss, like nice. I just learned that just a minute ago. And despite the fact that we have known each other for a few years and have had a working relationship, I still have butchered your name on a pretty
okay. You're not the
regular
only
way.
one.
I know I'm not the only one. So, you know, here are the things that I just love about Leonna. And that is, just let me give them a couple of things I love the most about you.
Sure.
You were a school teacher.
Yes.
And you made the decision that you wanted something different. You wanted something better.
Right.
Okay? And so here she comes out of school teaching, and she has two goals. Goal number one is to make as much money as you did in school teaching.
Right.
And the second goal was to buy a new bedroom suit.
Right.
Which is kind of funny now, given you do about 50 transactions a year.
That's right. I've done one of the two. I've
So
got one of the two goals.
You have not gotten the bedroom suit
No.
yet. You really ought to take care of that.
I know.
You really ought to take care of that.
I know.
And so, you know, it's really interesting because that was your goal. You're relatively new. How long have you been in the real estate business?
This is my third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and that's really fast progress. It's really fast progress.
I started full-time in 2015.
Okay.
So.
And just to let everybody know, you have 4 children.
I do.
You do. And they're young children.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like driving themselves around children. They're young children.
Yes.
And the reason I really want to mention that is if you've ever thought to yourself, well, you know, I can't do that. My life is too full, or, right? Yeah, meet Leonna. Right? Because you have never let anything stand in your way.
No.
So the other thing I really like about her, and one of the reasons I wanted well, actually there's 2 more things that I wanted to have a conversation with her about. And the second one is that she is a sponge. And that is one of the things I think has been your superpower, is that you tell her something. If I say to her, well, you know, you really ought to think about when you talk to somebody at an open house, do this. And you'll go, okay, let me write it down.
Yes.
And then you will implement it.
Yes.
And it's not just, I just spilled my coffee on me, just FYI. And it's not just things that you learn formally, but you watch people.
Yes.
You watch people's successes and
They're failures.
their failures.
Yeah.
And you immediately decide what you want to do and you implement it.
And it's not even really that I'm watching other people's failures. It's that I'm looking at my own.
Okay.
And I'm reflecting on why didn't that work out? And how can I change that so that doesn't happen again?
So, you know, in the world of psychology, there is the fixed mindset, right? And the flexible mindset. And one of the things they see out there in the world is that less successful people have what they call the fixed mindset. In other words, when you failed at something, I am a failure.
Yeah.
Where a flexible mindset is when I fail, it's not me failing, it's the behavior that failed.
Yes.
Now, how do I change the behavior?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's basically what you're saying.
And I think that comes from being a teacher for 14 years. To be reflective on, did I get that lesson across or did I not? And how can I change that so it translates better for that kid?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you know, teachers are always well known to be great real estate agents. And so I've always thought it's because they taught to their clients, they educated their clients. But I'm not so sure now. Maybe it's because you're looking at how to teach yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I mean, from a teaching background, when you're working with a class of 20 kids,
Right,
they all have different learning styles.
right.
When you're working with a couple or a family or several different couples,
Right.
they all have different personalities.
Mm.
So you have to quickly adapt to whatever personality style they have. So I'm always quick to pay attention to that and kind of transfer into that.
Did you learn that in real estate, or was that a skill you have from teaching?
I think it's just something that I've done. I
Okay.
didn't realize it until I got into real estate what that was. And I think you and I had a conversation about it before, about different personality profiles, which I had heard prior to.
Right.
And then I think I became more cognizant of it. I think it was something I
Right.
already did as a teacher with learning behavior and styles. But it was something I became cognizant of as a real estate agent when talking to different people.
You know, it's really interesting. Years ago, I facilitated a panel of big listing agents. And because I'm an over-preparer, I had picked up the phone and I had called each one of them before I got there. And each agent said independently that
Really?
they thought the reason that they were such a good listing agent is because they were a chameleon.
Yes,
That's what I heard over and over. So isn't that interesting?
it is.
Because you and I haven't talked about that. And
No.
so that's really interesting that you do that. That's one of your superpowers.
Another one.
Another one. Another one. Another one. I like that. I like that. So you started into this business, 4 children, just hoping to make it. What was that? Where did you get your motivation? How did you get in 3 years to 50 transactions? Where is the fire? How do you motivate yourself?
So for me, it was the fear of failure and having to go back to the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And there were stakeholders. There were my kids. There was my husband. I had just had a new baby. He was only 4 months old. And I really didn't want to put him in a full-time care. And I really didn't want to go back to teaching because I felt like if I went back to teaching, it would symbolize that I failed. And that is not something that would feel good for me. And so I set my goal, it was low, thinking back now that it was low, that I would sell 8 houses a year. Because I had done the math and said, if I can do that and I figured out a price point, then I would make the same that I made as teaching after taxes. And I would be okay.
And you blew the door off of that the first year.
I did.
If I recall correctly.
I did. I sold 19 my first year, and several people throughout were like, you need to raise your goal. You need to keep going, keep going. And I was like, but I'm fine. Like, I did it. Like, I don't have to go back to teaching.
Right.
And they were like, no, keep going. And so the motivation was failure, don't want to fail. And then there were a couple of people that doubted me. And so I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
See? That's what got me through my first year.
Yep.
The naysayers.
And then also, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, there were a couple of people that started with me that I wanted to keep up with, if not beat.
Right.
And we had this conversation before.
Yeah.
And so I was watching other people's numbers, and I was like, keep going.
And I do believe you've blown your doors off.
Now I think last year and yes, I've done well.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That's really good. So one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you is because of social media.
Okay.
All right, it was because of social media, because that is the place that you really have kind of put the stake in the ground and you're using it for your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you transition to doing so much social media?
It was an accident.
How is that an accident?
So I remember one day, I was religious about calling FSBOs that first year, because that's what I had been told. Call FSBOs, that's where and do open houses. So during the week I would call FSBOs, and one lady had actually called me. She saw my signs in a couple of yards from FSBO calling, and she thought I was the neighborhood expert. So long story short is I went to meet her, and she couldn't speak English very well, and she had a couple of contractors coming over to the house to help her with painting and a couple of things, but they were lost. And she couldn't speak English very well, so I took to the streets. I went out, I was standing on the street trying to find them and guide them into the neighborhood. and I just decided I'm going to make a Facebook video I'm going to make a video right now. It wasn't even, Facebook Live wasn't even a thing at this point.
Right.
I'm just going to make a video right now. And so I just held the camera out. I was dressed in my dress. I had my bag. I said, here I am. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to help this painter get into the neighborhood for this lady who's looking to sell her house. And, you know, who do you know that's needs this kind of service? And then I uploaded it to Facebook, and one of my colleagues who was pursuing a different avenue, who was doing real estate but going from the web angle, he said, that's your thing. You really, and he was a young guy, and he's doing great with his website. He said, that's your thing. You need to do that more often. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you need to do that video thing. You're really good at it. So then I did an open house, and I was just like, hey, this is Leonna Weiss with Keller.
Did you go live that time? Or did you doing video?
Live wasn't a thing.
Okay.
Live wasn't a thing. So I would just make a video, and then I would upload it to Facebook. Or I would door knock, and I would upload it to Facebook. And then those were my videos. And then people would say, love that video. Or they were commenting after the fact. Because there was no live. There was no instant.
Right. So let me just ask you a couple questions around this. So you're out there in the streets trying to guide the painters in. Which, first off, I just love that, because who is going to go to a FISBO to have a conversation and this woman upset over the painters and go stand on the street to try to figure out the painters, right? That is just resourcefulness, right? That is just getting out there and getting it done. And so, so you lift the camera, you make the video, you upload it, and, you know, it's interesting because you had a person come along and go,
yeah,
that's your thing.
Yeah.
And does that give you the confidence?
Yeah, I was like, well, it wasn't even just that. It was like, all right, just try that. And I was willing to try anything, whatever somebody would say, try, do. I was like, okay, I'm going to try that.
See?
Yes.
That's one of the things about you is you are a trier.
So I'll try it.
And even if you fail, you're fine. You just
I'm fine. I'll reflect on why I failed.
Mm-hmm.
Did I like it? Did I not like it? Do I want to do it again?
So I was teaching a class yesterday. There were 59 people in the class, and I asked the question, who in here has done a Facebook Live? All of them full-time real estate agents, right? 5 hands came up. 59 people.
It's not everybody's thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're afraid to try. They're afraid to try. So what would you say to somebody who's sitting out there and they're just like, I'm not going to like the way I look, and I'm not going to like, right? What would you say?
So good question, because I was in a sales meeting early on.
Right.
And video was the thing that was being talked about. And the person that was presenting at the sales meeting was a mortgage lender.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really pushing the videos. And he said, the way you come across on your videos is how people perceive you anyway in life. Don't make your videos over and over and over and then upload it. He was like, the first time is how people really see you. And so that really resonated with me. Well, if I don't like the way my hair is, if I don't like my smile, if I don't like my voice, that's really how people see me. Anyway, I can't change that.
And what makes you real.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go with it.
And people, that's right. And people don't like Stepford agent.
No.
No, they don't want Stepford agent.
No.
They want that real person, right? They want the real person. So you never even second guessed yourself. I mean, you didn't look at a video and go, oh.
No, at first I did.
God.
At first I did.
Okay.
I would make them and I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. No, that doesn't sound right. I would redo them. Then I had that sales meeting.
And that's the thing that took you in.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, no more of that. There's no recuts in life. You don't get take twos.
No, you don't.
You know?
No.
So we're just going to go with it. And it wasn't like, it wasn't a well thought out, business plan that I had in my mind. It was just do it and see.
And see. So what did you see? What were the things that you started going, okay, this works?
So then you would see how many people had viewed your video.
Right.
Because it was just uploaded. And I didn't know if they were seeing it because it was coming up in their feed. Mm-hmm. Were they really watching it? I had no idea.
Right.
But then I was reading the comments. And the comments were like, wow, love that house. Or wow, you're really doing it. You're doing so great. Love your energy. Just a lot of positive feedback. And I was like, well, people like what they're seeing. Mm-hmm. I should do it again. Right. And then I would transfer it to, going to an open house. Here I am at an open house. Let me show you before everybody gets in. And, you know, I may have to cut this video short if somebody comes in.
Oh, cool. I like that because that makes them feel like they're there with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that does happen. And so I'd have to shut it down. That was when
Right.
live came on, or even before live. And then right when live was starting, I was hosting an open house. It was an expensive house in the 700 price point. And the same guy who told me you should do videos, he said, you should start making live videos. That's the new thing. It should be live with Leonna. You should do that. And I was like, I don't know. Again, I don't know. And so I made my first one.
Right,
And it was
and?
real short. But I was like, all right, let's just do this from now on. It's easier than...
It is easier than the videos.
Yeah.
It is easier than the videos. I agree.
And then some people said, you should upload this to YouTube and then upload it to Facebook. And I'm like, that's just too much. It's too much for me right now. I'm just going to be me right here, right now.
Right.
Boom. And I've tried the YouTube, then over to Facebook, but I haven't seen much of a engagement.
Okay.
And maybe it's just my
Well,
followers.
YouTube is very busy.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very busy. And Facebook Lives get you so much reach.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of drill down on this a little bit. Because you use primarily Facebook, or is there anything else you use?
I mean, I use Instagram on a very basic level. I wouldn't even
Okay.
call myself an expert. I just started using it a couple months ago.
Are you seeing any traction with it?
Not yet.
Okay.
I made an Instagram live video
Right.
this Sunday at an open house.
Yeah.
And I think I had 2 viewers.
Okay, where if you did that on a Facebook Live, you would have many more.
Yeah. And I've also tried making a Facebook Live from my business page,
Yeah.
and no viewings there. It's my personal page.
All right, so I get asked that
Yes.
all the time by agents. Okay, great. Shouldn't I just have a business page? Shouldn't my business page be my business page and my personal page be my personal page? Yeah, no. No. Because the business page needs to be there. But your sphere is out there in your personal.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're going to go there, but I'm going to go there.
Take me.
You said, I closed 50 transactions
Mhm.
roughly, or a little less, but about that. And I do these live videos, and I think that and my posts are what made my sphere start believing me.
There it is.
Start believing that I was an expert, and I wasn't just a hobbyist,
Right.
jumping from teaching to something new. They saw that I knew what I was doing, and I was helping people, and I was being successful. And they said, okay, I've got an agent for you. She's a go-getter. She's motivated. She's got energy. You need to call my friend Leonna. And then the referrals started
Coming
coming.
in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first off, one of the things that I've noticed about your feed, because you and I are friends on Facebook, and so I see it come through, and there's no question that the impression that you were left with is she will do it. She's getting the job done. And you and I talked about earlier, you and I had had a conversation about door knocking around a listing one time. And you said, yes, I'm going to door knock, and this is how many people I'm going to talk to. And you had this goal started about that is what you wanted to do. And then I remember thinking that afternoon, it's pouring rain. And then I saw your video come up, and there you were under an umbrella, and it was raining so badly that umbrella was about to invert. You could see the wind
Yes.
trying to pull it back, and there you were doing a video. And the impression that I was left with was, girlfriend's going to do it. It does not matter. There's no excuses here. She's going to get it done. And that is what the impression that you're leaving with people.
Yeah.
And, I said it yesterday to a group. People want to refer successful people, and you're showing them that you're successful and that you're out there doing it.
Yeah. And behind the scenes, too, and I think this is normal for a lot of agents, we don't want to do it. We don't. We don't want to call a FISBO. We don't want to door knock. I mean, some
No.
people really do want to door knock. They really want to do it. But in that moment, did I want to do it? No. No.
Mm-mm.
I didn't want to go in the rain. I didn't want to be in my dress and get wet with my flyers and hold the. But I said,
Sorry.
you're going to do it.
Let me ask you something. So in that moment, when you're wrestling with yourself, oh, I really don't want to do this. I'm going to get wet. It's going to look awful, blah, blah, blah. What is it that you say to yourself to push yourself over the edge on it?
You know what, Leonna? People are going to see you making a video, and it's
Mhm.
raining outside, and you're not going to give up. And so if it was them that you were working for, this is the kind of service you would be providing for them. And they wouldn't know that just by you telling them that. They would know it by your actions.
All right. That's the deal right there. So that is an incredibly important point. So you need to listen to that one. You can't just tell them. You have to demonstrate it to them, show them what you're willing to do to get it done. Is that the synthesis of that?
Yeah, and it's not just like, okay, yep, I'm getting out of the car now. Here we go. It's really just like,
okay,
all right,
great, good
okay.
point. Yeah.
Okay, go. All right, you're going to talk to 20 people today. All right, no, 10. No, 20. All right, just see how many people you can get through, okay?
Okay, is that what you do?
Yeah.
You go 10, 20, okay, let's just see how many we can get through.
Just go. Well, it's raining. It's really windy out. Perfect. This is perfect. It's beautiful out. Go.
See?
And then once I start knocking, or if I was door knocking, I
Right.
really enjoy it. I enjoy being able to talk to people and then getting back in my car and say, whew, I just
Wow.
talked to 20 people today.
Look
What do you
at
know?
this.
What do you know?
I love that. I love that. That is super good. That is super good. So let's kind of drill down on this whole social media because you started by accident, but it's not accidental now. Correct? I mean,
Right.
you think about, all right, I need to post. This is how much I need to post, or do you? Do you have a schedule?
I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, until like a couple weeks ago. I started being intentional about the business page.
Okay.
So I have a business page, but everything beforehand was all on my personal page.
Right.
And it would be, I was conscious of don't do too much business on the personal page. People will get sick of that. So now I'm more conscious of don't post too much business. Post some personal,
Mm-hmm.
more personal than
The
business.
business. Do you have a ratio that you think through?
Yeah, I think I do I try to do 5 posts a day, and 2 of them business, 3 of them personal.
You
So
do
is that
5 posts a
81?
day.
I try, but I can't say that I'm
Wow.
100% successful.
Wow.
Well, it could just
And
be,
it's what I'm sitting here thinking is we're friends. And I never would have thought that you did 5 posts a day.
well, remember I just said I'm just now starting this.
Right,
So
but
it's not,
still.
hasn't been.
But here's the point. To me is people worry, because I get this question all the time, people worry that they post too much. But the fact of the matter is, it depends on when I come into the feed.
Yeah.
And I go in, if I do a half an hour and go, at night, I'm going to see 1 of the posts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see all 5 of the posts.
No. And being intentional about what I'm posting at certain times, because I know when people are watching or looking.
And so how do you determine when people are watching?
Well, because I know people are working.
Right.
So people are going to check in on Facebook in the morning.
Yep.
Okay, maybe on their drive to work in the car when they
Right.
shouldn't be.
Right?
Or at the light. Or
Most of us do that.
They're going to check at lunchtime. They're going to check at lunchtime.
Right.
They may check at 2, 3 o'clock.
All
They're a
right.
little slumpy, trying to get through until 5 o'clock.
Right.
Then they're going to check between 7 and 9.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit after 7 because they may be getting kids to bed or washing dishes or eating dinner.
Right.
So
But it's when
9
they
o'clock
sit
is
down
the
on the
time.
couch
Yeah.
to watch their favorite show and they're pull
Yeah.
out their computer and they're sitting there multitasking.
And there have been times when my husband has said, "Put the phone away," and I'm like, "I'm working.
Right.
I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, but I'm working."
Right,
and this is
right.
also the thing too is like when I'm doing this on social media, this is when people are looking for an agent.
Right.
So there are
Great
those,
point.
there are those, "Hey, I'm looking for an agent in this area. Who do you know?" And if I happen to be scrolling through and see it, this is my time now to reach out to my sphere
Right.
and say, can you share the love?
Great. All right. So, do you say, "Can you share the love"?
Yes.
That's exactly your word.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yes.
So,
Show me some love.
okay. Mama needs new shoes. I've got a coaching client that will say to her friends, "Mama needs new shoes."
Oh,
That's what she'll say.
that's the cue.
That's her cue. So, there's several things that just came up in that. All right. First off, you're intentional about when you post, and you're very conscious of people's lives and people's patterns, and that's how you post. Do you do it, or do you use Hootsuite or something like that?
I do it.
Okay, so you do it. Okay, cool.
I haven't gotten into the tech side of things of the business, so that's all.
Okay, so I need to stop and say something. She doesn't do the tech side. So what does that mean? I hear the excuse all the time, "I'm not techie." You don't have to be techie to be on Facebook, right? You don't have to be techie. So there you go. Don't use that excuse anymore. She just took it away. All right, so you don't use any of those kinds of things. And damn, I forgot my other question. Don't you hate it when that happens? All right, so we were talking about
the posting the time.
So are you intentional about making sure you're putting people into Facebook? In other words, are you always conscious about when you meet someone that you go out and you do a Facebook request or any of those things?
When I started, I was doing that. So if I met somebody at an open house, I would Facebook request them.
Right.
That's weird. I'm just going to say, if I just met you and we're trying to become Facebook, for me,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to be my Facebook friend and I just met you, I think that for me
feels weird.
Pushy.
Well, let me say that Shannon and I follow a guy out there who talks about relationships, about the stages of relationships. And he talks about, if in those initial phases of getting to know somebody, you are too forward, right? So if you and I have just met and we're sitting here at the coffee shop and I get just a little bit too close to you, that's weird. Well, that is the cyber part of that, of touching someone or too fast.
Yeah.
So I think your instincts are good.
When I add people, it's if it shows up and it will say you may be friends with, or you have friends in common with, and I look to see how many people we have in common with, and then I may add them. And I've had people say, "How do I know you?"
Right. Okay.
And then I say, "Oh, well, I saw that we were friends with so and so and so and so and so and so," and then they'll say, "Okay." Or I have people friend request me who are usually agents or lenders,
right?
And I'm choosy about what is the intention of that.
Right.
I'm public. I have a public profile, so you can see me anyway.
Okay. So you do keep everything public?
I do.
Okay. So that's your structure about when you post. You don't particularly go out and friend people, but you will look at suggestions and you'll friend that way.
But I have to say, Facebook is weird. It's like Big Brother. I mean, I met a gal at an open house a couple weeks ago, and then she popped up this past week on friends you have in common with, and it was her. And I was like, I want to friend request her because I want to nurture that relationship, but I think it's too soon.
Right.
So I'm just gonna that was weird though. It was weird that Facebook put it
I know.
right there.
I have that happen too. Where I was in a drugstore and I was looking at a product and all of a sudden it popped up on Facebook. And I'm like, WTH. How did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. So, So you're careful. You just don't pile people in. You're careful about it. Okay. All right. So what are the things that you do to increase the people that you meet to go into Facebook?
I don't.
Okay, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many people do you think you have on Facebook?
I think there's almost 1,000.
All right, so you have a pretty good group of people.
Yeah.
All right. So you do, of the 5 posts, you'll do 2 business, 3 personal, or was it 1 business, 4 personal?
Right.
Okay, so 2 and 3. And you have lots of great posts in your personal because you are fearless about putting things out like no makeup,
Yes.
right? So tell me that out of curiosity, is there a post that you put out there that by far got more likes or more shares or more comments than any other?
A personal post,
Yeah.
like a picture. I mean, I just recently put one up there that was like a math equation.
Oh, I saw it, and I saw it a couple of times, and I kept going, I'm not, no.
And that got, I don't even know how many conversations
It
were
started.
going back and forth.
What's the
I mean,
answer?
The answer is 15.
Thank you. Every once in a while, I'll go through and I'll start trying to calculate it.
And then,
I'm going to come back. I'm afraid I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah, so that was interesting too, because the week before that, I put a post of one of these images, and you have to really stare at it to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a lot of comments on there, and so then I posted it onto a Facebook group page that blew up. And so it wasn't business related, but it was, my picture's there. It's my profile picture, which is still the same as my business picture. And then I would just engage with people and there.
What kind of group did you put it on? Was it a business?
It was a women's group.
Was a women's
like
group.
a area group.
Isn't that interesting? So if you'll put it, so you might put it in one place and it doesn't do very well, but then you go out on another.
It had nothing to do with real estate.
Okay.
It was a picture, and it said, do you know what this is? And you had to really look at it to figure out what it is. And I said, if you don't know what it is, PM me. So private message me. Again, nothing to do with real estate. Nothing. I think the community is gaining a sense of who I am.
Through that.
Not through that, through my
but through all of
other things that I've done. But then for them, since they may not be on my personal page, may not see me that way, they're still seeing me as Leonna. Not the realtor, but still,
not the realtor.
Just a person.
And that's really important because people want to like you and trust you and believe you care in order to do business with you. And you just cannot underestimate those feelings.
Yeah. And so I think just if I were to post a picture of my kids in this ladies group, they don't want to care. They don't want to see that, right? So we're
but
just
people do care in your regular Facebook
They do on my regular Facebook page.
do.
But in this page, it's creating engagement in a different way.
Okay.
We're just talking.
Talking.
And then later when you see me again posting an open house in that group, share with your friends.
Right.
Maybe you make the she's not just a realtor. There's other things.
So it's really funny. I had a post recently. I did a Facebook Live in the middle of the night because I had insomnia recently.
Did anybody watch?
It was amazing how many people came on. I was like, wait a second. And people come and go, morning, Joe. And I'm like, what are y'all doing up? I mean, like, seriously. And it was crazy how much engagement that got. Pajamas, no makeup, right? Nothing. And then I thought, that got so much engagement. I took it, I turned it into a YouTube video, and I went out onto LinkedIn with it. Nothing. So it really is thinking through your groups and who will like what.
Yeah.
Right? And when I said to Shannon, by the way, y'all, Shannon's on the other side of the camera.
That's who we're looking at.
Yeah, that's who we keep looking at. So when I said something to Shannon about, she said, it's just a different group. There's no possibility that would have made a difference in there. So I get it. I've had that same experience.
The insomniacs are on
The
Facebook.
insomniacs are out there. They are. They absolutely are. So what is the best business post you've ever done that's gotten the most engagement?
I think it's my it could be any of my Facebook open houses, but I think one of the ones that got the most was at the end of the post, or maybe it was the beginning of the post. I started with me laying on the floor, and I was like,
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
woo, that was an amazing open house. I'm so sorry I didn't make a video. It was nonstop. It was a revolving door, and I couldn't even get to you. And since you're so important to me, let me show you this house.
While you're laying on the floor.
No, and then
you got up.
Then I got up.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, how are you laying on the floor doing a Facebook Live and get up gracefully enough?
There's no grace about anything. Facebook, they want to see you real. All aspects.
There's no grace.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how do you get up off the floor graceful on Facebook Live? I wouldn't even do that. I'm pretty daring.
And the idea wasn't even my own. It was my seller's. My seller said, because my sellers watch now to see if I'm making a video during the open house.
Love.
And I said, I'm so sorry. I there were so many people coming in and out. I couldn't stop. And she said, you should make one laying on the floor. And I said, and then I have clients that will give me suggestions. You should make a video about why not to use plugins in your house when selling your house because they stink and give buyers a headache. You know, they will send me ideas of things to say.
Did you do that one?
No. I may have.
Okay.
Actually, I think I did, yeah. Yeah.
I
If
love
it
that.
smells, it doesn't sell. I think I
Oh, how funny. I have to tell you a story.
Yeah.
Many years ago, and when I say many, it was probably 15 years ago, I had been out of town for 2 weeks. My husband and I were out of the country for 2 weeks. We came home. It was Friday night at 10 o'clock. We walked through the door, and my home phone is ringing. Now, this is when you still answered your home phone. And my home phone was ringing. And the voice on the other side said, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. And I am a reporter with the News and Observer. And we're doing a big story in the real estate section tomorrow about why houses don't sell. What do you think? And, here I am. I still have one of my suitcases in my hand. And I said to him, if it smells, it ain't going to sell. He said, thank you, and hung up. And I went, what is that? But, you're exhausted, you're jet lagged, I didn't think anything about it. I go out to get the paper, again, when papers were still delivered. I go out to get the paper, and, at the time, there was a huge real estate section. It was 15 years ago. I open up the real estate section, and there it is, the headline. Local realtor Joe Mangum says, if it smells, it ain't going to sell. That was the freaking headline.
Oh my gosh.
Is that the funniest
That's
thing?
crazy.
I know, you just said that, and I thought, that is so funny. It's still true 15 years later.
Yeah.
It is. And that's why I've always said, people will say to me, are we ever going to be buying houses online? Yeah, no, you can't smell them. Right? You can't smell them. You can't smell a vision. So, yeah. So, what is the craziest video you've done? Besides laying on the floor or having your umbrella invert.
That's probably it.
That's probably it, having your umbrella invert.
Yeah. In the rain.
Okay. So what is like the number one thing you would want a real estate agent who's sitting out there listening and going, I'm not brave enough, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, I don't like Facebook. I hear I don't like Facebook all the time. Right?
Yeah.
So because you said to me you really didn't like it either, or you were really nervous about it.
I just think that you have to try it, see what the reaction is that you're getting. If it's not great, you don't have to stay married to it.
Right?
I mean, I don't like calling FSBOs.
Right.
But if I needed a new pair of shoes, in your words, I would call them.
Right.
I would call them because
Right.
it's my job. It's my business,
Right.
not my job. It's my business. So it depends, depends upon it.
It depends.
And I think too, if it's, it is not for everybody.
Right.
There have been people that have contacted me and, I've spoken to new agents in the office and talked about, what I've done. And they've tried it and they've said, Leonna, it's not for me.
Okay.
I'm too old, or I'm too this, or I'm too that, and I'm not I don't have the same kind of following that you do. My age group doesn't buy into that, or my back, or like my speed.
Okay.
And that's fine.
Okay.
And it might not work for everybody, but try it.
How long should you do it before you give up on it? I mean, what should be the, it's really funny. I didn't get married until I was well into my 30s. And when I got married, I married a guy who was in his 40s, and neither one of us had ever been married. And people would always say to me, all right, Joe, how did you find such a great guy? And I always say to them, you got to do it more than once. You got to date them more than one time. You have to date them multiple times before you make a decision. And to me, Facebook is just like that. I'm pretty sure y'all didn't want to know that, but I said it anyway. All right, so how many times you think they ought to do it? They ought to do Facebook Live before they really make the judgment? Because one time I wouldn't think is enough.
I don't know. I think at least 5 times
Would
more.
they?
Yeah, I mean, at least a month.
Yeah.
Of really being intentional about it. And it doesn't even have to be, like, somebody might be saying, I could just hear somebody saying, but I don't have any houses to hold open. It doesn't even have to be that.
No.
You know, it could be something about you're getting ready to go on a listing appointment. Or maybe you're getting ready to go on a buyer consultation, and these are some of the things that you're going to say, or that you're going to share.
Great idea.
I've also, you know, just made videos with my kids putting signs out in the yard, or directionals, or it doesn't have to be an open house. It could be anything that you're learning or doing. You know what I did yesterday? I went to a new construction community. I met with the on-site agent. I gathered lots of information, and then I walked out. I need less than a 1-minute live video. It wasn't long enough. I realized it after the fact. Hey, just wanted to let you know I'm going to be hosting an event in a couple of weeks. This is what it's going to be called. I'm out and about checking out the new construction neighborhoods in the area, and this is one of them. And if you were ever considering building a home in the upcoming year, come to my seminar. This is what. And so let's say, well, I'm not doing a seminar. Okay, so what? Just go and introduce the neighborhood.
Right.
If it's new construction, let's say it's not new construction. Go into a neighborhood and share the neighborhood. Does it have a pool? Does it have a tennis court? How many homes does it have? How many homes are for sale? Why is it great? What schools are in the area? Go to a restaurant. Go to a new restaurant.
Oh, a restaurant would love for you to do a Facebook Live about
this,
them.
You know, Firehouse Subs just opened up in the town, and I just wanted to introduce the owner.
It's really endless. You know, I did a Facebook challenge last week or the week before, and one of saying, go out and get this done. And somebody responded, and they went out to the parade houses, because we've got parade going on right now. And one of the builders is doing a playhouse giveaway.
Nice.
And she did tours of the playhouses. And you buy tickets that all the proceeds go to a charity, and you get a playhouse. And they're great playhouses. I mean, they're
turnout.
Yeah, she did great with that. And so, I mean, that's a beautiful thing to do. There's endless things that you can do Facebook Live.
I've showed up at a construction site where they're building a new shopping center. 2 minutes. Hey, just wanted, you know, we're growing so much in this town. Look at, what do you think this is? I mean, snap a picture. This, you know, anything.
And let's just talk about what that tells the people in Facebook. What does it tell them?
I'm the expert. I'm out and about. I'm working.
All right, so parting words for an agent who's sitting there listening to this, and they're thinking, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure where to start. I'm not sure how I can take social media and put it into my business. What would you say? Or they're saying, I'm just not Leonna. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Because there's so much fear around this. So what would you tell them? What would be the message?
I would just say, just do it. Just do it. There's nothing that's going to happen negatively by trying.
Great.
If you don't try, you won't know.
If you don't try, you won't know.
Yeah.
You didn't die from it, right?
Well, and two, has anybody ever died from rejection?
No.
No. And so if it doesn't work for you, you're not going to die. Your business is not going to suffer. But,
and you'll learn something.
But what could happen if you don't try?
That.
Just do it.
Yeah. You have to live with yourself if you don't try. And trying and not liking it is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.